We are now introducing Google SketchUp, which is a different design program than you are used to, like Tinkercad. So in your search engine, type in SketchUp for Schools. You can click on the link, and it may take you a little while to go in and get started. You can simply see that SketchUp is in the corner. If the logo does not look like this red block, then you are in the wrong spot. I'm going to click Try SketchUp. It's going to ask me for different items. You're going to say you are in primary and secondary. Let's get going. You're going to hit the drop down. Are you enrolled in Google's G Suite? Yes, you are. What is your role? You are a student. And click SketchUp for Schools. You have a Google account through Shen Schools, so click on that. Select your Shen Schools account and continue. This is your dashboard, just like in Tinkercad, which is the other 3D design program we've used. You have the ability to create a new document, and we are always going to work in feet and inches. Anytime you load Google SketchUp, there will be a person in there for reference. You can simply select them and press backspace or delete on the keyboard to remove them. In SketchUp, you have a lot more tools than you do in Tinkercad. The key is to learn how to rotate around and understanding that you have a blue axis, a green axis, and a red axis. The toolbar on the left is what you're going to use to rotate around. If I select Orbit, you see that there are multiple other tools that when I hover over them, gives me the description. If I want to rotate around, I'm going to do something called Orbit. I select that. I click and hold, and I can orbit around. I can right-click and hit Exit, or I can simply go back up and click the cursor. If at any point you are in a tool that you're not interested in using, like the Orbit command, you can right-click and hit Exit. If you're on your Chromebook, you might need to click Alt and hold that down on your keyboard, and then select the screen in front of you. As I mentioned before, we have the blue, the green, and the red axis. The X, the Y, and the Z. If I wanted to draw a line, I can simply select the line tool. If I wanted to draw a rectangle, I can select the rectangle tool. And you'll notice that it has two separate points on here. That shows that I can select and click once, and then I can click twice and my rectangle is drawn. The other tool you're going to learn how to use is the push-pull. This is what helps extrude your object. I select once, and I can go up, I can go down with that push-pull tool. I clicked again, and there is my object. I'm going to go back, I can use the circle tool. Notice how it is on the red plane, and you can see the dialog box, it says on face. That means it is connected to the object. You can see that it has changed to green and is still on face, and blue on face. I click once, click again. I can go back and use that push-pull tool to click from the center and drag it out. other tools you may want to use. The eraser, which will start erasing different components. If you want to erase everything at once, you can click from the right and drag to the left. Click and hold from the right. Anything you go over will delete. If you go from the left over, the same concept. Or simply select the one object. I am back at the original screen. The first project you're going to do is redesigning, or actually designing, your bedroom. Most bedrooms are rectangular. The tool I'm going to need to use for this is something called offset. It's in the push-pull area, and it looks just like this. Remember, if I hover over the tool, it will allow me to see the description. I select the offset command. I select the inside, and you can see it creates another rectangle, offsetting whether it's outside or inside of the object. And then I can push-pull. If I zoom in, I can push-pull, and you see how it's highlighted? And now, if I zoom out, go back to orbit, I have created walls to my structure. So go ahead, play around with the different tools. The last thing I will mention in this video tutorial intro is that your toolbar keeps the last tool used in the front icon. What do I mean by that? If I just use the offset tool, you'll see that the offset image remains on the toolbar. Same thing if I went for the rectangle, but I drew a circle. Now the circle is what remains on the toolbar. So that can be a confusing feature to this program. Go ahead, draw different objects, extrude them, use the tools in the program to get a little bit of background so we can move on to the first project.